Every man is faced with a defining moment. That moment is not a single event, but rather a series of small decisions made daily. You don't wake up one day and suddenly feel lost. You arrive there because of choices made over time. A man becomes abortional when he gives away his power, his discipline, and his vision. Every man reaches a point where he must make a decision, stay where he is or take control of his destiny. The power of choice is what separates the strong from the weak, the successful from the lost, the fulfilled from the frustrated. Everything in life, no matter how small, stems from the choices we make daily. It's not one massive event that defines a man's life, but a series of micro decisions that compound over time. The problem is, most men don't even realize they're making these choices until it's too late. A man doesn't suddenly wake up weak, lost, or unfulfilled. He arrives at that state because over time he has chosen comfort over challenge, distractions over discipline, and excuses over execution. Every action a man takes or fails to take is a vote for the kind of man he becomes. The power of choice is always in his hands, whether he acknowledges it or not. The dangerous thing about choice is that it often feels small in the moment. It seems insignificant to hit snooze one more time, to skip the workout, to put off an important conversation, or to waste another evening mindlessly scrolling. But these tiny moments, when stacked together, create the framework of a man's character. The men who achieve greatness in life don't have fewer struggles or fewer temptations. They simply make different choices. They choose discipline when it's easier to choose comfort. They choose to push forward when their mind tells them to quit. They choose to take ownership instead of blaming circumstances. This isn't about luck or privilege. It's about daily decisions that create momentum. A weak man waits for external circumstances to dictate his actions. He waits for motivation, for the perfect time, for someone to save him. A strong man understands that no one is coming. No one is going to do the work for him. No one is going to pull him out of his struggles and hand him success. He must choose to take full responsibility for where he is and where he is going. This is where the shift happens. The moment a man realizes that every aspect of his life, his finances, his health, his relationships, his mindset, is a direct result of his choices, he takes back his power. But here's the hard truth. Most men don't want that responsibility. It's easier to blame the economy, their upbringing, their boss, or even bad luck. It's easier to believe that they are victims of life rather than architects of their own future. But the truth is, every choice is a chance to step up, to be better, to move forward. Some men never tap into their potential because they believe their past defines them. They think that because they've made bad choices before, they're destined to keep making them. But the past only controls you if you let it. Every day is a fresh opportunity to make different decisions. The most powerful thing a man can do is recognize that his future is not determined by his past mistakes, but by his present choices. The problem is the world around you is constantly trying to rob you of your power. Society encourages passivity. It tells you to go with the flow, to numb yourself with entertainment, to fit in rather than stand out. It rewards mediocrity and shames ambition. It convinces you that your problems are outside of your control. But deep down, you know the truth. You know that if you choose to take charge, you can change everything. The most successful men in history were not the smartest, the luckiest, or the most talented. They were the men who made a decision to demand more from themselves. They refused to settle. They refused to let fear, laziness, or doubt dictate their future. They were willing to make the hard choices when no one was watching. That's what set them apart. So the question is, what choices are you making today? Are you choosing to move forward or stay the same? Are you choosing to build yourself up or let yourself decline? The beauty of choice is that it's always available. No matter where you are right now, you can decide to shift. You can decide to take action, to stop making excuses, and to start moving toward the man you were meant to be. Because in the end, no one else is responsible for your life but you. Your choices will define your future, and that future starts with what you decide to do right now. What will you choose? Discipline is the bridge between where a man is and where he wants to be. It is the silent architect of success, the invisible force that separates the strong from the weak, the fulfilled from the frustrated. Yet discipline is rarely the first choice. Distraction is always easier. Comfort is always more tempting. A man doesn't become weak or lost overnight. It happens through a series of small, seemingly insignificant decisions that compound over time. Every time a man chooses distraction over discipline, he moves one step closer to becoming abortional. It starts subtly, skipping one workout, sleeping in just a little longer, putting off the hard conversation, ignoring responsibilities for the sake of temporary pleasure. The problem is these small decisions don't feel like failures in the moment. They feel like harmless indulgences, like breaks that don't really matter. But what most men don't realize is that these choices are casting votes for the kind of man they are becoming. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about making the hard choices when they matter most. It's about showing up when no one is watching, about doing the work even when it's inconvenient. The reason most men struggle isn't because they lack intelligence or opportunity. It's because they let distractions dictate their lives. They allow their emotions to control their actions. They wait until they feel motivated before they take action. And because motivation is fleeting, they stay stuck in cycles of inconsistency, never building real momentum. A disciplined man understands that motivation is unreliable. He knows that he won't always feel like doing what needs to be done, but he does it anyway. He wakes up early even when he wants to sleep in. He trains even when he doesn't feel strong. He works on his goals even when he doesn't feel inspired. Why? Because he understands that the man who waits for the perfect moment is the man who never achieves anything. Success is built in the moments when no one is watching. Discipline is what turns a vision into reality. A man can have the best ideas, the biggest dreams, and the most ambitious goals, but without discipline, none of it matters. Ideas without execution are worthless. Ambition without action is empty. The difference between men who achieve greatness and those who don't isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's discipline. But here's the hard truth. Discipline is painful. It requires sacrifice. It means saying no to short-term pleasure for long-term rewards. It means cutting out distractions, eliminating excuses, and pushing through resistance. And most men aren't willing to do that. They want the rewards of discipline without paying the price. They want the body without the training, the wealth without the work, the respect without the sacrifice. And because they aren't willing to commit, they settle for a life of mediocrity. The world is filled with distractions designed to pull men away from their purpose. Social media, entertainment, cheap dopamine hits. Everything around you is engineered to keep you weak, passive, and unfulfilled. The system profits when you lack discipline. It wants you distracted because distracted men are easy to control. The moment you choose discipline over distraction, you become dangerous. You become a man who cannot be easily influenced, a man who creates his own path instead of following the crowd. Discipline isn't just about work. It's about every aspect of a man's life. It's about training the body so it remains strong and resilient. It's about controlling emotions instead of letting them control you. It's about setting standards for the kind of people you allow in your life, the kind of information you consume, and the kind of habits you build. Discipline is self-respect in action. A man who lacks discipline does not respect himself. He allows his impulses, his weaknesses, and his distractions to define his existence. Every man has a choice: build discipline or be ruled by distractions. And that choice is made every single day. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to force you to do the work. No one is going to push you to be better. It's on you. The men who understand this take full responsibility for their actions. They don't wait until they feel like doing something. They do it because it needs to be done. They don't let distractions dictate their destiny. They create their own future through consistent action. A disciplined man is a rare force in this world. He is focused, relentless, and unshakable. He understands that every sacrifice he makes today builds the foundation for his future. He knows that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. And so he chooses discipline every single time. Not because it's easy, not because it's convenient, but because he refuses to be anything less than his full potential. A man is not just a product of his choices, he is a product of his environment. Every thought he has, every action he takes, every belief he holds is shaped, reinforced, or challenged by the people and influences around him. No man is immune to his surroundings. Even the strongest willpower will eventually break if placed in a weak environment. The world will tell you that you are independent, that you control your destiny, no matter where you are. But the truth is, if you place yourself in an environment that breeds weakness, mediocrity, and complacency, you will absorb those traits, whether you realize it or not. A man who surrounds himself with people who make excuses will start making excuses. A man who allows negativity into his mind will start seeing the world through a negative lens. A man who tolerates low standards will start living by them. On the other hand, a man who surrounds himself with disciplined, driven, and focused individuals will rise to their level. He will adopt their habits, their mindset, and their expectations. This is why environment is one of the most powerful forces in shaping who a man becomes. Most men never take control of their environment. They passively accept the influences around them. They stay in friend groups that drain them. They consume media that distracts them. They engage in conversations that diminish their ambition. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The problem isn't their potential. It's the fact that they are allowing an environment of weakness. Look around you. Who do you spend the most time with? What kind of conversations do you have daily? What kind of content do you consume? What kind of standards do you tolerate? These questions will tell you everything about the trajectory of your life. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, laziness, and low expectations, you are being programmed to fail. No man rises above his environment without a conscious effort to do so. Great men understand that their environment is either lifting them up or pulling them down. There is no neutral. They are ruthless in curating the influences in their life. They cut out toxic relationships without hesitation. They stop wasting time on meaningless distractions. They choose to be around people who challenge them, who push them, who force them to grow. They understand that proximity to excellence breeds excellence. The hard truth is, if you are surrounded by people who are not pushing themselves, you are being pulled into their reality. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are. If you are constantly exposed to mediocrity, you will start accepting it. Your standards will lower, your mindset will weaken, your drive will fade. You won't even notice it happening until it's too late. That's why the most dangerous environments are not the ones that actively destroy you. They are the ones that slowly drain you, numbing you into complacency. Your environment isn't just about the people around you. It's also about what you allow into your mind. Every book you read, every video you watch, every conversation you engage in is shaping your thoughts. If you constantly consume negativity, you will develop a negative outlook. If you fill your mind with distractions, you will struggle to focus. If you surround yourself with weak ideas, you will become weak in your thinking. A powerful man protects his mind. He treats it like a fortress, allowing only what strengthens him to enter. It takes courage to change your environment. It means letting go of people who are holding you back, even if they have been in your life for years. It means breaking away from old habits, even if they provide temporary comfort. It means choosing growth over familiarity, even when it's uncomfortable. But the price of staying in a weak environment is far greater than the discomfort of leaving it. Some men will argue that they can stay in a negative environment and not be affected. They believe they are different, that they are mentally strong enough to rise above it. But history proves otherwise. The greatest warriors, leaders, and visionaries all understood the power of environment. They deliberately built circles of influence that fueled their mission. They didn't rely on willpower alone. They designed an environment that made success inevitable. If you want to change your life, start by changing your environment. Be ruthless about the influences you allow. Seek out people who inspire and challenge you. Consume information that sharpens your mind. Set a standard for excellence in everything you do, because at the end of the day, you are not just living in your environment, you are becoming it. Every man reaches a point where he realizes that who he is today is not who he needs to be to achieve the life he desires. This realization can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is necessary. Growth requires change, and change demands reinvention. A man who refuses to evolve is a man who chooses stagnation, and stagnation is the slow death of potential. The most powerful men in history did not remain the same throughout their lives. They shed old versions of themselves like a snake shedding its skin, constantly adapting, improving, and refining themselves. Reinvention is not optional, it is essential. The biggest mistake most men make is believing that their past defines them. Because they've made mistakes, failed, or been stuck in bad habits, they are destined to stay that way. This is a lie. The past only holds power, man, if he allows it to. Every single day presents an opportunity to break free from old patterns, to rewrite the story, to rebuild into something stronger. And reinvention requires one thing above all: radical honesty. A man must be willing to look at himself without ego, without excuses, without justification. He must ask himself, who am I right now? And more importantly, is this the man I want to be? If the answer is no, then he must commit to transformation. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. The first step is brutal self-awareness. A man cannot change what he refuses to confront. He must identify his weaknesses, acknowledge his patterns, and recognize the ways he has been sabotaging himself. Only then can he begin the process of rebuilding. The world is full of men who talk about change but never follow through. They say they want to be stronger, more disciplined, more successful, but they cling to their old identity because it's comfortable. Reinvention is not for the comfortable. It is for the man who is willing to destroy the version of himself that is holding him back. It requires a willingness to step into the unknown, to abandon excuses, to demand more from oneself. One of the greatest lies men tell themselves is, "This is just the way I am." This phrase is a death sentence for growth. No man is permanently fixed in his habits, his mindset, or his abilities. The mind can be rewired. The body can be rebuilt. The spirit can be reignited. A man who understands this realizes that he is not bound by the past. He is only bound by his unwillingness to change. Reinvention is not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about becoming the man you were meant to be. It is about aligning your actions with your vision, about shedding weakness and embracing strength, and it is not a one-time event. The man who truly commits to his own evolution understands that reinvention is a lifelong process. There is no final version, no ultimate form. There is only the constant pursuit of excellence, the relentless refinement of self. Some men fear reinvention because they fear what they will lose. They fear letting go of old friendships, of familiar routines, of the comfort of who they used to be. But what they fail to realize is that every time they shed an old version of themselves, they gain something far greater: power. The power to create their own future, the power to step into the highest version of themselves, the power to control their own destiny. The world does not reward men who remain the same. It rewards those who are willing to evolve. Look at any man who has achieved greatness, and you will see a man who has reinvented himself multiple times. He was not born the way he is. He built himself. He made a choice, and then he made another choice, and another, until one day he looked in the mirror and saw the man he had always envisioned. So the question is, who do you want to become? What version of yourself needs to die for you to step into your potential? Reinvention is in your hands. You can choose to remain the same, repeating the same patterns, stuck in the same cycles, or you can choose to rise, to demand more from yourself, to refuse to settle for anything less than the strongest, most disciplined, most powerful version of you. The process will not be easy. It will require sacrifice. It will require discomfort. It will require letting go of everything that no longer serves you. But the reward is worth it, because on the other side of reinvention is the life you were meant to live. The only question is, are you willing to do what it takes?